What's poppin', Star Wars collectors, and welcome back to another Funko Pop concept list here on Carbonite Collecting, a branch of the Carbonite Combos podcast and YouTube channel. Today, with the release of Mandalorian Season 3, we are going back and looking at all the concepts and customs from the Mandalorian Season 1 and the Mandalorian Season 2. So buckle up because there are a lot of awesome pops on this list.
Oh my gosh, dude, I can't wait to get into these. I can't wait to watch the show. By the time this is out, we'll have already seen the first episode. I hope it's an absolute banger. I expect nothing less. But I am ready to talk about some Funko Pops, man. Why don't you go ahead and get this thing going?
Yeah, of course. But before we get started, if you do like this video, make sure to give us a thumbs up. It really helps the channel. And if you want to see more concept lists, make sure to give us a subscribe. We'd love to have you on the channel more often. But I am ready. And starting off with the first pop on this list, we have the iconic scene of when we were first introduced to Grogu. We have the Mandalorian reaching out to touch Grogu's hand. At the time, we didn't know his name was Grogu. We just dubbed him Baby Yoda. This pop made by Funko.Fu.
Yeah, man. All right. Second up on the list, we have a look at Mando's father. So we don't know his name, but this is definitely a super cool pop for any Mandalorian collector. This one's made by Fun.Concepts.
Yes, sir. Coming up at number 3, we have an unmasked Din Djarin. Now, this is made by Reviver, and this was in Chapter 11, the second to last episode in Season 2, where they break into the Imperial facility, and he has to take his mask off to have the scanner read his face.
Yeah, man. And when we first saw his face for the first time, we knew how big of a deal it was for it to see it. So for us to get it on that level, I love a look at another pop of him unmasked for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Next up on the list, we have a look at Mandu with Grogu. Now, I really like this one because it has a really interesting, sandy base. This one made by Elpsequa Trade Tatooine. So definitely another really cool pop. And again, he does have the Darksaber, so that just intensifies it.
100%. I love the little angry Grogu using the Force,
Yeah.
whatever. That's my favorite part of the whole thing with that sandy base, like the one for Qui-Gon.
Yeah,
That's super neat. So also made by the same creator here, we have a 3-pack of the Mandalorians that we run into in Season 2. So we have Bo-Katan Kryze, the main, Casca Reeves, and Axe Woes. So the 3 Mandalorians we see Din run into in that episode was just awesome.
Yeah, definitely. And I would probably get all 3. I think this would make an incredible 3-pack. Next up, we have a pop made by Funko Concept Art. This is a scene of Mando versus Moff Gideon. Mando has his Beskar spear, and Moff Gideon has the Darksaber. This is in the season finale of Season 2, and this was an incredible scene, and also it looks like it would make an incredible pop as well.
Yeah, man, we know the results of that battle. We know how scared Moff Gideon was, and we know how cool of a moment we got with Luke just a few minutes later. So this is definitely a cop on my list. Definitely a cool scene. Next up, we have a look at Grogu fighting off the flames being shot at him by a trooper, and him using the Force to hold it back. I love that moment, and this one is made by Pop Draw It.
Definitely. And another one from the Season 1 finale. Next up, we have another look at Mando holding Grogu, another one with the Darksaber. This one made by Jay Bavart, and it looks like this one would be chrome. So I think this would be an awesome pop.
100%, man. This next one coming up, made by Fun.Concepts, is a look at Ahsoka holding Grogu. Now, this has to be them communicating and basically her getting caught up on everything Grogu's been going through the last 40 years.
Yeah.
50 years, right? That's absolutely crazy.
Yeah, definitely a really just iconic moment for the series. Next up, we have a ride. We have IG-11 with Grogu sitting right in front of him. Now, this was an awesome scene. IG-11 was such a badass. He can just turn 360. He's driving while he's just blasting all the troopers. That was an incredible scene, and I would probably have to get this ride. This one made by the Barba Custom.
Yeah, man, super dope. When he just snatched him and threw Grogu in like the side pouch of the speeder, that was super neat. Yep. So next up, another one made by Fun.Concepts. We have Moff Gideon after he crawled out of his TIE fighter, looking super battle damaged. The TIE fighter's completely destroyed. He just crashed into the sand, and he pulls the Darksaber out, and he's ready, and he's going back after Din.
Yep. And I remember that scene where he has to cut himself out of the TIE fighter. So seeing the Darksaber and the implications that had, it was incredible. Now, next up, we have another look at Grogu. Now, this is him putting together the wires in the Razor Crest at the time. He zaps himself, but that's okay. He did survive, as we all know, and I think it would make a pretty funny pop.
100% reminds me of Baby Groot in Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Yeah.
100% energy. So next up, this one made by Jay Bavart, we have a Chase Bo-Katan Kryze. So this one, very similar to the Jango Fett pop that's already out, has that smoke shooting out of the jetpack on the back, and I love when they use that as the base.
Definitely. Next up, we have the child with the ice spider. Now, we could see the ice spider on his head, and this was a really cool part of the second episode of season 2. This one made by Pop Vinyl Guy, and another, I keep saying it, but another really cool pop.
Super funny moment when he was eating the eggs and where he was eating the sack. I don't know what you want to call it. The spider eggs. Sack. The spider sack. Oh, and then the frog eggs, right? Like, absolutely. And Frog Lady, man, would be right there with him. So next up, we have a look at Peli Motto holding the child. And she's honestly become one of my favorite little side characters. And I think she's awesome. Her little one-liners at Din, basically making fun of him or anything like that. And this one made by J Riz Custom Designs.
Definitely. And we know she dated a Jawa too. So I would be interested to see how that came out. Next, we don't have a concept, but we have a custom. Now, this is made by Breddy Custom Pops. It is of the final episode of season 1 where IG-11 sacrifices himself, and we see the stormtroopers around him. We see him knee deep in lava. So a really cool custom scene.
Yeah, man, they did a great job on the legs into the lava. I think that's the coolest part of the whole thing.
Yeah, definitely.
So moving on, the next custom on this list, all these made by the same creator here. We have a look at Berg. So this is one of the crew that gets stuck on the security ship, if you want to call it that.
So that one, again, made by Breddy Customs, as was this one. We have a look at Mayfeld. Now, I think what's really cool is that they were able to make his extendable gun off of his shoulder. So if this was a real pop, I would definitely buy it. I really dig Mayfeld as a character. I love Bill Burr as a comedian, so this would be an automatic cop for me.
100%. He was really good in that episode, and anyone that knows Bill Burr knows that he did not care for Star Wars in general.
Yeah.
So for him to come in and crush it was super cool.
100%. Next one, we have Ranzar Malk. This was kind of the leader of the crew that we saw get trapped, and this guy ends up getting unalived as well by the New Republic. So definitely another really cool custom, and this guy did an incredible job on those few customs.
100%. And so moving on, another custom here, we have a look at Dr. Kershing, the one who ends up experimenting on Grogu. I would buy this one. I think this is super neat, and in my honest opinion, this is the best custom on this list. I think this one's super cool.
No, it's very well made. 100%.
But moving on to the next one, we have a movie poster. Now, we know Funko's on a super hardcore trend on this right now, and I think they're awesome. I think I have 4 of the comic covers myself. This one made by Mario Bros 612.
Definitely a really cool one. I would probably have to get that one. Next, we have the Imperial Comms Officer seen in season 2. We don't have a name for her yet, but hopefully we'll see her in season 3. This one also made by Reviver.
And then to wrap this thing up, we gotta save the best for last. Jay Bavart absolutely crushed this one here. We have a look at Luke Skywalker absolutely decimating a Dark Trooper. Now, everything on this is glow in the dark. Look at the outline of the Dark Trooper getting sliced. That was even a glow. This would be a cop.
Oh, 100%, 100%. And I think the perfect pop to round this list off of. Everybody, we really hope you enjoyed this list, and we really hope you enjoyed episode 1 of season 3 of The Mandalorian. Feel free to comment which concept or custom was your favorite, and let us know in the comments as well which ones you would like to see from The Mandalorian season 1, season 2, or episode 1 of season 3. But again, we really appreciate you tuning in, and until the next time you're on Carbonite Collecting, like always, make sure to keep it poppin'.